of all these things we're speaking at, there's actually quite a bit of debt here in South Africa. How do we deal with that?
Well, I think that is a big issue, and the banks need to tighten up, and I think they have tightened up. We have seen some of the banks failing in that area, especially at the lower end of the market, where in fact they've just been too free with debt, and that is bad. So they haven't controlled it correctly, and a lot of retailers are actually dependent on debt. And so I think what you're seeing is there's some retailers who have actually fed out too much debt and are feeling that at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I can just highlight one of the companies that used to use a lot of debt to drive sales, which was the Foschini Group, have moved away from that. In fact, now they're concentrating on trying to grow, and they've been very successful in the last year, trying to grow cash sales.
That's interesting.
And I think that's been clever of them, because their timing's been good, because I think they've been able to predict that people are too indebted, and that cash has to be the number one driver of the economy. And so you have to present offers and merchandise in a way that captures people who are in the cash market. And that's an example of I think a player who's been very smart and able to actually read predictions in the marketplace right now.
Do you foresee other major retailers going this route?
I think they have to work through their credit problems at the moment. I think they have actually just overcooked the credit equation, and they've got to try and get through that before they can move on to it. I think if they could switch the button, they would. But unfortunately, it's actually quite a long strategy to move across there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, as consumers, should we be moving away from credit card use?
I think that's a very good idea. I think, put it this way, maybe you should use credit cards, but not in the credit format, so that you should try and pay off your credit card every single month. If you're not being able to pay it off every month, then in fact you've got to actually really stop yourself from excessive spending on it. So don't see it as an open sesame to be able to go and actually purchase that.
I think a lot of people see it like that.
I think that's
They're like, woo, all of this
Well,
money.
I think that's the way it's been marketed, and that's the evilness of it. So when you see that you've got a credit limit of, and it's always quite a lot of money, you think you have that money. You actually don't have the money. No. That's what you owe.
Yeah.
So I think people have to make sure that whatever they spend on their credit is within their means on the monthly basis.
Now, how do advertising agencies play into all of this? What's their role?
Well, I guess the role is to make clients aware of the trends, and then every now and again, if you have a client who has the ability, because obviously business is functional on what they're getting out of the economy at the time. But if you have got a client who can actually advertise ahead of the curve, ahead of the competitors, it is the time to win market share. So while the economy is in a tight scenario and things are regressing, that is the easiest time to pick up market share. So the wise marketers should actually try and pick up market share now. As soon as you go into a slightly boom economy or a stronger economy, to pick up market share is very, very difficult. So a lot of the winners in the long term earn their growth points right now.
And that comes back to working smart again.
Correct. So it's all about how you spend your money, the smartness of where you place your cash and your thought process.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming in and sharing.
Thank you. Have a good season.
Yes, you too. Did we cover everything?
Thanks.
I think we did.
Yeah.